Oh, tells me I'm live. Hi, guys. Welcome to the show. This is Monkey in the Morning. I'm Monkey. Hope you guys are well. It's a day. I think it's Wednesday. I have no idea. But it is a day, and here we are. We're gonna we're gonna be talking tonight because that's what I do. That's how I spend my time is speaking out into the void and hoping somebody's listening because I desperately need attention. There's more truth to that than you know. Anyway, we're going to be revisiting the MoistCr1TiKal / Penguin Zero / Charlie situation. That's all one guy. Those are just the different names he's known by. MoistCr1TiKal, I believe, is his name on Twitch, but he's gone by that forever. His YouTube channel is Penguin Zero, and his real name is Charlie, which is what everybody calls him. And the other day, he got some shit because he had a debate with Sneeko. Oh, it was so bad. So bad. We watched actually, we didn't even watch quite a bit of it. We talked about it for a long time. We only actually watched about 20 minutes of a 3.5 hour debate. And he got a lot of pushback for it, and rightfully so in some cases. In other cases, and I said this at the time, I think he's not getting enough credit for what he did say, him pushing back against Sneeko's absolutely asinine idea that as soon as a child is physically mature, his words, not mine, then basically adults should be able to bang them, with their father's permission. And Charlie did a great job on that, but he got into a little bit of a controversy. And we're going to watch the part that caused issues. I'm going to do my best to just shut the hell up because we already watched it. But I think it's important to watch what happened. Thank you, Snubber. Speaking of revisits, what was that hospital that claimed it didn't offer trans surgeries to children but actually did? Boston Children, right? Yes, it was. It was the Boston Children's Hospital. They're the one. There's others who have done it since, but the one that blew up big and was it lives at TikTok and all of that was Boston Children. Cryptic, thank you. I blame all of this on opinionated Scotsman. Did he do it again? All the time with that guy. All right, so we are going to watch Sneeko versus Charlie again. Now, we're just jumping into the middle as we did the other day. You can watch the whole thing on Rumble if you want to. It's on Sneeko's channel. Just type in Sneeko. And this was the exchange, or at least one of several times it's revisited. This is the exchange that led to so much backlash for Charlie.
Where does your morality? I want to leave on this. I know you touched on it a little bit earlier, but I do want to touch on this before I go. Where does your morality come from?
We already went over this, right? Personal experience and everything I take in from the world.
All right, this is backed up just a little bit because I wanted to be sure that nobody can say, hey, look, you cut out part of the context of that. That's why we get the morality question, but it is what leads into it.
And process up in here.
Okay. 10 years ago, did you believe that a child can go through transgender therapy? Can they cut their penis off?
10 years ago, I didn't know anything about it. I wasn't unaware of it. And then when I learned about it, I formed my own morality on it based on everything I saw, read, came to my own conclusions.
Okay. If I told you when you were a kid that it was okay legally and morally to cut your dick off, would you agree?
Like, what do you mean? Would I do it, or would I say that that's okay?
Would you say that that's okay?
I'd have no idea on how to even process something like that. I'm a fucking child.
How old are you now?
29.
Okay. When you were 10 years ago, like, and you had heard about it, because this was still bubbling. There was, I think Caitlyn Jenner was first popping up. This was like the talk of the town. If I told you 10 years ago, I remember that Trump was running for president, 2014. What's happened? Like, Obama's still in office, right? I tell you it's okay to cut kids' penises off. You saying that's cool?
So 10 years ago?
Yeah.
I'd say let me look into it, and probably if it's a decision they came to with professionals and their family, I'd say yeah.
Okay, we all heard the question, right? Let's back it up just to hear the question one more time.
Would I do it, or would I say that that's okay?
Would you say that that's okay?
I'd have no idea on how to even process something like that. I'm a fucking child.
How old are you now?
29.
Okay. When you were 10 years ago, like, and you had heard about it, because this was still bubbling. There was I think Caitlyn Jenner was first popping up. This was like the talk of the town. If I told you 10 years ago, try to remember that Trump was running for president, 2014. What's happened? Like Obama's still in office, right? I tell you it's okay to cut kids' penises off. You saying that's cool?
Dark Resurrect over on the Streamlabs. Oh, I don't even have that page open. Give me a second. I can see the alert. I should have had this open. Thank you, Dark Resurrect, for that feminist $12. The amount of people saying Pedco destroyed Charlie is honestly concerning. It really is, because he really didn't. And Snubber, thank you. What sucks is Charlie did so bad, Twitter was upset that he lost, that's in air quotes, or in quotes, to Sneeko. I kind of see it. Sneeko accidentally had a good point about consent to surgery, practically greasing that slippery slope. Yeah, and we talked about that when we covered this the other day. I mean, both of these guys make the argument against the other guy's point that should tell them that they're both wrong. But the question is, can a child, 10 years ago, if I told you a child could cut off their wiener, would you be cool with that? And he says, I would look into it, and as long as they had consent with their parent and doctor, then yeah, cool. That is important. And this has been my criticism of him on this the whole time. I've had arguments with viewers who think I'm taking Charlie out of context because of stuff Charlie has said afterwards. Thank you, Black Dynamite. Why is transgenderism so difficult? XXXY, damn it. Because they need an oppressed class. Communism doesn't work without oppression. You can't sell it unless there's an oppressed class. So you got to have somebody who's the victim. Anyway, so this is his take on it. That yeah, you can absolutely have a child cut off their penis. Well, he made a video today. I guess we could switch over to that. He made a video today where he addresses this subject, and not just this subject. You'll notice we're 12 minutes into this. Actually, you can't notice that because my thing is over it. It's 12 minutes and 49 seconds into it where we're picking it up. The first part of it, he talks about the debate itself and how it wasn't even supposed to be a debate. He was under the impression that they were just having a conversation offline. And I believe he even says he didn't realize it was even being broadcast until an hour into it, which is fine, because that just shows he was being candid. He didn't even know he was being recorded. Which, I mean, when it comes to talking about not having sex with children, isn't it nice for somebody in the creator space to accidentally get filmed saying they don't think you can bang a child? That hasn't been the recent trend lately. But he also talks, he's stepping away from a podcast that he's been doing for years, and that led to the internet going, oh my God, Charlie's retiring. He's not. He's just stepping away. I have some experience with stepping away from, if not a podcast, a stream done with other people, and continuing on past there. But he addresses that, and then he addresses the actual child marriage / age of consent debate. And here he's just about to get into what we talked about, and the part that the government, or not the government, the internet, too many ets, that the internet is mad at him for. And he says this.
It went all over the place with a ton of different things. But the big one, and this is what most people have focused on, which was my response to his question about kids transitioning. And the way he would pose that question would be by asking if I thought it was okay if kids who want to switch their gender go to the doctor and get their dick cut off.
Yes. That was the question. You're right on track. And that's the last time I'm going to agree with him. Because the rest of what you say here is just nonsensical, and it is the argument. Apparently, he had a stream right after the Sneeko stream where he said, I didn't realize this was actually happening to kids. It doesn't matter, because you were asked a hypothetical question. When me and Vegan Gaines had our argument, and he asked me, hey, if aliens came down to Earth and wanted to eat people, would that be cool? If I had said, yeah, that'd be absolutely cool, which, by the way, I said it would probably be cool for them, I'd be against it as the people getting eaten. But my aliens haven't come down to Earth. You ask a hypothetical to see where people's brains are, what they are okay with, what they are thinking in that situation. And you said, hypothetically, yes, it would be fine as long as you talk to a doctor and the parents about it. You and Vegan Gains had an argument. Oh my. You can actually still go look that up. It was what was that, guys? 2 hours of just me and him yelling at each other. It was fucking amazing. It was a lot of fun. Anyway, so he acknowledges the correct question here.
Is it okay if a 9-year-old goes to a doctor and gets their cock cut off right then and there? And when posed with that question,
that was not the question to you. The question was just if it's okay to be done. Did you see how he reframes it? Right then and there, get it cut off. We just watched it. Did anybody see Sneeko? God damn, don't make me defend Sneeko. Did anybody see Sneeko go, actually, they're going in and getting their dicks cut off immediately? That didn't happen. And when this fucking bothers me. I like Charlie, okay? I don't watch all of his stuff. I really do like more of his videos that are based on weird nonsense. But this is just a lie. That's a lie. You're getting called out for this stuff. And then instead of just either owning it or saying, I misunderstood, you're presenting it in a way that is just not true. It's just not true. He just asked if it would be okay. And you're like, he said if they walk in and they just immediately put it in the dick guillotine and cut it off. That's not what was said. Fuck. This happens so often with internet apologies that they will frame it in a way that has nothing to do with what they're there to talk about. And in fairness, he's not really apologizing here. He's trying to explain it away.
I replied with yes. And I've talked about this on stream many times.
You didn't just reply with yes. You replied specifically with if the doctor and the parents agree. So even then you're like, yeah, it's cool. Maybe they all agreed on that first trip before they bring out the Dicotine, but the framing of it, god damn, just be honest about what happened. It's on video. Jesus Christ.
Times now, and I'll talk about it again here. I thought he was talking in hyperbole. I thought he was just exaggerating, being over the top, talking about the entire subject of transitioning.
Okay, let's say it was hypothetical, not hyperbole, but let's say for argument's sake, it was hyperbole. You still agreed, right? I mean, he said this thing, and you're like, I thought it was hyperbole. And you still agreed with it. It being hyperbole doesn't change your agreement with it, fucker. Oh, but he's going to make it worse here in a second.
I had no idea that any living, breathing human being actually thought that that's how transitioning works.
Well, with what you just set up as a straw man, nobody thinks that's how it works. Nobody thinks that as soon as the kid goes in that first day to talk to a doctor and says, I think I'm trans, they immediately bring out the Dicotine. All right? Nobody thinks that's happening. But you have to set it up that way to make yourself sound better with the stupid shit you said that day. Because if you were being honest about it, you'd be like, I thought it was hyperbole and I did agree to it. And that was, yeah, I shouldn't have agreed with that. That was stupid. Which you still don't even do.
Where you just go into a doctor saying, I feel like switching genders, and they lay you down on the operating table and just snip your whole fucking meat off.
There you go. See how he's reframing it? He's still, yeah, they break out the Dicotine. I'm sticking with Dicotine. They break out the Dicotine. Just, God bless, man. Ugh.
I didn't know that that's what he actually believed.
It's not what he actually believed, and it's not even what he actually asked.
I didn't know he was speaking literally. I thought he was just referring to the entire process of transitioning and just using this over-the-top statement to encapsulate all of it.
I'm going to end up repeating myself a whole lot here because he drags this out into different parts. But okay, even then, you didn't clarify and say, yeah, you know, they go through, they talk to their doctor and stuff, and then when they're an adult, they go ahead and get it cut off. You didn't clarify anything. You were just, the specific question was about as a child, and you agreed. So even if you think he was being hyperbolic and that he literally thought that they walked in and got their dick cut off, you still agreed to it. And you argued that having that done doesn't affect anybody else. That's why it's okay. Because remember, your thing with being against child marriage is that it affects more than one person, which, by the way, the least issue with child marriage. But that was your argument. Child marriage is different because it affects other people. You're still talking about the child there.
Because you literally cannot get that surgery unless you are 18. Yeah, like you actually have to go out of your way to be that stupid on the topic than you would just spending a couple of seconds looking it up.
Okay. It never happens. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Fine. The question was hypothetical. Would you have been okay with it 10 years ago? Which, by the way, he goes to 9-year-olds. We do have doctors on record saying that they've done these kind of surgeries to kids as young as 12 and 14. So in the hypothetical, you can sit here and say, hey, it never happens. That's fine. But in your hypothetical, why wouldn't you have said, hey, would you have been okay with getting, kids getting their dicks chopped off? Why wouldn't you say not while they're children? Not while they're children.
There are very rare cases where someone under 18 has had that surgery.
Whoops, wait a second. It doesn't happen. Go do your research. I mean, there's very rare cases. So you're cool with it in those very rare cases? I mean, hello. You can't use as part of your excuse that it doesn't ever happen. It doesn't happen. It doesn't. I can't believe anybody believes that happens. And then follow it up with, I mean, it happens rarely. What the fuck? Charlie, stay out of politics, bro. Just stay the fuck out of it.
Performed. That's not common. So
it wasn't about whether it was common either. It's not common. He didn't say, would you be okay with it if it was common? He just asked you if you'd be okay with it. Even if it was just once, Charlie, one 10-year-old getting their dick cut off because they think they're a girl. Is that okay? I
really didn't think that someone could be so dumb on the topic. I thought he was just speaking in hyperbole.
Well, again, you've added a whole bunch to what he actually said. His question was, would you be okay with a child getting his dick cut off if you were told about it 10 years ago? And to that, you have added immediately getting cut off, it being common, and it happening all the time. I mean, you've added so much to it.
Which is my mistake. I should have been more clear instead of making an assumption that he was talking about something nuanced in an over-the-top way.
Okay, let's say that's true. Again, Monkey hasn't seen this, has he? This? Yes, I have. I've watched this whole thing. Actually, we have another clip at the end of this that I already have queued up, ready to go. Once again, you argued that the difference between this and child marriage is that this doesn't affect anybody but that child. That was literally part of your argument. How are you now suggesting that I can't believe anybody would have thought that? You were literally you didn't need to ask clarifying questions. You knew what was being discussed. You didn't think You didn't even roll your eyes or anything. Go, oh my God, that's so insane. Nobody does it. You didn't, you never even said nobody does that. This is all shit that comes back that you're making up now. I didn't realize anybody wouldn't have done that research, which, by the way, does show it happens, but it's rare.
I haven't hid this take, and it's not a new take from me. I've talked
And again, he doesn't have to hide this take. This is why I don't even understand why he's addressing this or why he's pretending that he's actually not for it, because this is not a controversial take in today's society. It is controversial in some circles. I mean, Boston Children's Hospital, like, no, we're not cutting off the titties of 10-year-olds. No. They were bragging about it before they got caught doing it. And what happened when they did get caught? Everybody rushed to their defense. The entirety of the media came. I can't believe that they're holding these people responsible for their own literal fucking words. I mean, this is insane. It's insane.
about this a couple times throughout the years on stream. I have no complaints if a kid gets interested in transitioning and starts talking to their family about it.
That bothers me the way you said that. I have no problem if a kid gets interested in transitioning. I thought this was a birth thing. Isn't that these stories that these people know literally their entire life? If you believe some of these people, going all the way back into the womb. They literally pop out going, no, I wish I could speak so I could tell you I'm not really a girl. You're assigning me the wrong thing. Like a hobby. Yes, exactly, Faithless. Like I have no problem if they, like he's talking about some kind of fucking fandom. I have no problem if they become interested in trans. Why wouldn't that bother you? Because we're not talking about at that point a kid who's sitting there going, man, I really feel like I'm in the wrong body. You're talking about somebody who's jumping onto a fad. And you're okay with that kid starting to take life-altering medicines and possibly getting their genitals mutilated? You're okay with that? Oh, yeah, as long as it's a process.
So their parents start talking to doctors, the kid starts talking to doctors and therapists and all of this, because the process of transitioning is one that takes place over the course of many years. It's not something...
that part is not true at all. That part's not true at all. You do have doctors now, the moment a child goes in there and they sit down with them for a couple of minutes and talk to them, giving them hormone therapy immediately, putting them on puberty blockers immediately before they ever go see any kind of fucking psychologist. It is a rubber stamp at this point. Check Streamlabs. Hang on 1 second. Sorry about that. I didn't see anything come through. That's my mistake. Maybe. There we go. Nope. It's not my mistake. I don't have anything since Dark donated earlier. But yeah, hey, it takes forever. No, the transition process starts immediately. This is part of the problem right now, is that they are rushing these people through. You can sit there and say that they don't do surgery immediately, and that part's true now. Instead, what they do is pump them full of literal castration drugs, and it puts their body fighting against itself as they inject them with hormones that aren't meant for them. Anyhow.
Thing that just happens like that. And I'm also not afraid to admit that I am not the most educated when it comes to transitioning. I am not someone that has a ton of knowledge about the subject.
But you just told us that if you do research, you'll find out this doesn't happen. And you told us emphatically it does not happen immediately. But you also, why are you speaking on it then? You know, there's a couple of times we've had to do this where there's a major story that breaks, and I'm like, I can't talk about that right now. I don't know what's going on. I don't know enough about this subject. I'll look into it. I will dig into it so that and do you remember what he said earlier when we were watching the Sneeko thing? Where's your morality come from? My life experience and stuff. And then he was asked about this. And he goes, I would have looked into it. If I looked into it and it showed XYZ, then yes. So did you work it? Did you work it? Damn you, non sequitur. You just did that to me because I read the word working in your chat. Fuck me. Did you do any research? Because you're talking as though you have some authority on the subject. I'll be the first to admit, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. So I talk about it. I honestly don't know how to deal with that. You know, it's kind of funny that one of the things I really like watching from Charlie is bad apologies. His bad apologies videos are really good, and they're based on, people who get in trouble on the internet and then have their apologies. He's not even apologizing here, but he's doing what they do in those videos. Nothing is real. Meh.
To be speaking on it in a really in-depth manner. But even I know these very surface level things that everyone has easy access to.
Oh, the things that you just said, definitively, those are just easy access. I get it. Okay. So did Boston Children's Hospital brag about mutilating children? The thing you say they literally don't do, and there's only like one person ever, or how many? I don't know what rare is. He says extremely rare without giving the numbers, but you both said it doesn't happen and it's rare. Which of those am I going to find if I do just surface level research? I defended Charlie because he spoke on things he didn't know about and got caught up in agreeing to something hastily, but now he's doubling down on it. I take back my defense. I told you at the time, bro. He was answering a hypothetical. There is no defense for what he said. There's just no defense for it. Either he means it or he screwed up. And given this, he means it.
Understand. It is a long process. And I have no problems at all if a kid gets interested in that process and starts going through that process with proper care.
You were specifically asked, though, about the surgery. Sneeko didn't even ask about the hormone replacement. He didn't talk about puberty blockers. It was specifically getting a dick cut off. I have no problem with it as long as it's a long process. You didn't even say that at the time. You could have said all of this then. And again, he'd be celebrated for it because this is the culture right now. He's on the right side. He's on the right side of history, you guys. But you didn't do any of that in that moment. Forget the clarifying questions. What about a clear answer? Are you okay with this with children? Yes. Not yes, as long as it's a drawn out process and the surgery doesn't happen until they're an adult. None of that.
And then when they reach the age where they can consider that surgery and decide they want to do it, then that's all power to them.
All right. There's a great question. When they reach that age, Charlie, at what age can a child make that decision? Because remember, the question was about children. At what age can they make that decision? Anybody want to take bets? I've already seen this, but anybody want to take bets on whether or not he gives a specific age on when that can happen? Anyone?
Entirely up to them. They have reached that age. They can now do that surgery if they want to. That is not a surgery that's being offered to like a 9-year-old who just says, I feel like changing genders today.
And nobody has suggested it is. It's getting closer. It's getting closer. They're absolutely sticking him on hormones immediately.
It's just not how it works. And I didn't think that that's what was actually being discussed because it's so fucking silly. Now
it's not silly. You yourself admitted that it happens in rare cases. And he didn't say that everybody. This is the problem with this. And Romeo, this is why I was arguing with you. The hypothetical was clear. He is the one that is making it muddled, very muddled. Like, no, I thought that he was out of his mind talking about getting the dick guillotine out, and I everybody knows there's no such thing as a dickotine. That wasn't the fucking question. And what you did answer was stupid. And your defense of it here is just as dumb.
I'm sure there's some really fringe cases you can point to where that kind of thing did happen, but it's not common. Thus,
Okay, wait. Forget the not common part. Are you against those? Are you against those weird cases? Yeah? No? You're going to take a stand on that here, right? You're clarifying all this, right? So you're going to tell us how you feel about those rare cases, right? Let's see.
fringe cases you can point to where that kind of thing did happen, but it's not common. Thus, I didn't think that's what was being referred to in the conversation. And it is,
And I'm
again,
against
my
it.
mistake
I'm
for not
against it.
recognizing
I'm
that
against
at
it.
that moment it was
I'm
being
against it.
spoken about literally.
Against it.
So all that shit that people keep
Nothing about being against it in those cases. For fuck's sake. You have the perfect opportunity. This is an edited video where you could have stopped and went, oh, I should probably clarify that. It never enters your mind to even clarify that in those cases, which you claim are rare, that it shouldn't have happened then. This, you're not even talking about the hypothetical anymore. You're talking about the literal cases of it happening, and you can't bring yourself to go, and by the way, I'm against it. By the way, I think that was wrong. By the way, that should only happen at X age. You had no problem with the hard line 18 for kids getting married. 18. And I applaud you for that. But somehow when it comes to genital mutilation, I mean, you know, when they get to the age where it's appropriate, and you can't even give the age that's appropriate here. Jesus Christ, man. I don't know. Again, I like a lot of Charlie stuff. This part is stupid as shit.
dogpiling and spouting about me about how I want all kids to go out there and get their genitals chopped off is just fucked up. Like,
Look, I don't know if anybody said that he wants all people to get their genitals cut off. I have a feeling that he's engaging in a bit of that hyperbole he was just talking about. But the people who are jumping on you saying that it's wrong, that you said it's okay for, you can't blame them for what you said. And your defense here, you haven't taken any of that back. You've still not said kids shouldn't have that happen at all. I still have no idea who this guy is. You should probably branch out a little bit more. He's one of the most popular people on the platform.
it's so ridiculous. I recognize I did a horrible job of arguing in this debate, which isn't surprising considering I don't debate. This is not something that's in my skill set.
Now, this is one part I will give him a bit of fairness. If he honestly thought that this was just him and Sneeko having a discussion offline, wasn't supposed to be a debate, that's fine. But if you were arguing, right? If I'm having a private conversation with someone and I say something really stupid, it's still really stupid if I said it in private. I'm not a debater. That's fine, but you didn't answer that when he asked you that question. You didn't go, I'm not a debater. I can't really speak on this. You don't get to fall back on I'm not a debater when you engaged in the debate, whether you knew it was live or not. He's popular because he's milquetoast. I think he's popular because he tends to stay away from shit like this. He's smart enough, or used to be, not to engage in political shit. Even with you, when you go back and watch the debate between Trump and Biden, he's mostly just laughing at it. He's just having fun watching how fucking stupid the whole thing was. So, I mean, mostly he does game streams. He has his movie reviews that he does, and then just a lot of random nonsense. He does engage in some drama stuff, and he talked about this earlier, I think, in the video. Maybe it comes up in a little bit later, where the whole Cody Ko situation. We haven't talked about that on here. Cody Ko is an immensely popular YouTuber who it recently came out that he was banging an underage girl not that long ago, 4 or 5 years ago. And this is all backed up by stuff at the time that nobody directly pointed to. Everybody kind of knew it, but nobody talked about it. And this is one of those things that streamers really need to get their shit together. It is amazing how many of these people, when some big, really fucked up story breaks, where they're like, yeah, everybody kind of knew about that. I mean, we saw it with the MITAM one where that girl got molested when she was passed out, and it kind of gets whispered about for a couple of days. Then it goes away for like 2 years, and then it finally comes out, and all of these people who knew the whole fucking time act like, I can't believe this kind of shit happens. Thank you, Pornhub, who says someone uploaded this with the title Sneeko fucks Charlie. Sneeko actually did horribly in this debate. And anybody who thinks that Sneeko did well, I really question why you think that. Anyway,
which of course led to some embarrassingly dog shit arguments. Like the one I've seen people reference a couple times is when I briefly mentioned sports in this topic. It was a stupid point to try and make. I was getting hit by like some rebound psychic damage listening to some of the drivel brain rot that Sneeko was spouting about the age of consent. And I don't know why I thought this was like an argument to try and make, but I brought up sports in this subject and I was going to try and elaborate on it, but didn't at all. What I was going to try and say is that when a kid gets interested in a sport, they'll talk to their parents about it. They'll research the sport, go through the process of learning about it. And when it comes to transitioning, it's still a process where you talk to your family about it. You learn about it. Like,
my son said he wanted to play football, so we signed him up immediately for football. We didn't have to go through 4 or 5 years of counseling and make sure that's what he really wanted to do. And then at an appropriate age, go play football. Look, he's admitting this is a bad take. And I've mentioned this so many times. It's not just him. It's not just liberals. It's a lot of people who decide to get into arguments and they will bring up an analogy that doesn't fucking fit. It just doesn't fit because they try to force it to fit their narrative. And it's just not. And this is proof that he's not good at arguing with people, which is why you shouldn't be doing it. You just shouldn't be. What you should do is shut the fuck up and listen. I'm just saying. Just saying. Shut the fuck up and listen.
It wasn't a point where I was trying to say, well, changing genders is a lot like picking between baseball and soccer. Like it's
but that's what you do when you use an analogy, asshole. God damn. Analogies are supposed to be comparable. Fuck. All right. He just rambles a bit here for the rest of it. I want to jump to this point because I don't think that this in and of itself would destroy Charlie. I think he's got a big enough audience and that this is an acceptable enough belief to have that the only reason this is becoming a thing is I honestly don't even understand why he's addressing it, honestly. Because except to clarify, and in which case you should clarify and go, no, of course I don't think children, which he never does. But given our climate, he's going to be fine in most of the circles that he runs in the media. No, there's no media out there writing stories. You're not going to see on CNN, oh, this Twitch user, this YouTuber thinks it's okay for kids to have their dicks cut off. Nobody's writing that story because they're okay with it. They're okay with it. But I do think that I saw basically the end of Charlie as I was watching this, and it comes right in here. Now, he spent the last, since we were just with him, the rest of this time lamenting the situation he finds himself in. Real quick, let me get these and we'll get back to that. Cult of Krill, thank you. Oh, thank you for that feminist $12. I'm not buying the excuse that he thought he wasn't on stream. If he thought he was live, he would have couched his arguments differently. The fact that he didn't think it was live tells me he told his true feelings. Yeah, that's what I said earlier. Again, he says he didn't know for, I believe it's the first hour that they were live. But it's even more telling. I mean, the part that we watched comes up at about the hour and 13-minute mark. So he knows he's on stream-ish. I don't know what time he exactly knew that they were streaming it. But even if he thought it was all in private, that's just more of what you think. So many people won't say what they really believe when they know they're being recorded. So it's more candid. And again, I don't understand why he's making such a big... He's the one that's making this worse for himself right now. Evolved Potato, thank you. I said this on Twitter. The reason Charlie's terrible take went viral is because Sneeko being a retard isn't news. That's his natural state. But Charlie usually doesn't have these. So when he's a retard, it does get views and blows up. I think it blew up because a whole bunch of right-wingers we saw it with the quartering, right? Quartering doesn't give a fuck that Charlie said this. The quartering gives a fuck that somebody with 16 million subscribers said this. And that is a huge difference. He doesn't give a fuck about Charlie. He don't care. These are all people who are like, ooh, if I talk about, look, I did it. I ain't gonna lie to you. We talked about this because this is big news. This gets views, and it did. Although I got more views for people hating the quartering than for Charlie's part of that. We didn't even put him on the fucking thumbnail. Did I even put him in the title of that one? I didn't know. Yeah, more people tuned in to see me dog on the quartering than this. Is a quartering a right winger? He pretends to be online. It depends on which part of right winger you're talking about. All right, so it has to blow up enough to get the quartering's attention. No, that's not true. He follows a whole bunch of big people just waiting for somebody to go at. How many times has he gone after Matt Walsh when Walsh hadn't even said shit at the time? He's looking for that clout. That's the game, man. Anyhow, I think what I saw here of Charlie, because he's talking about how his content has changed from what he really wanted it to be, because he covers a lot of drama stuff. And he says that because of that, all he ever gets is people sending him drama stuff. And it's not really what he wants to talk about. And he wakes up and he looks at Twitter, and that immediately affects his mood for the day. So many things to unpack there. First of all, if you don't want to talk about something, don't talk about it. It's that easy. There have been a couple of times I've felt a little bit like an asshole when you guys ask me, like, hey, Monkey, did you see this? And I've had to tell you, that doesn't even interest me. And I don't mean to be rude, but if it's not something that it can at least hold my interest, I'm not going to try to hold your interest with it. If I'm not at least mildly interested in it, I just can't talk about it. And it's amazing to me how many of these creators that I've seen over the years that starts to be their downfall. They're chasing the views so much they'll talk about anything that's popular. We talk about shit nobody's ever even heard of or barely makes the news because it's what interests me, because it's my show. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it as well, but the reality is if I tried doing that, I wouldn't get burned out from doing that. I would get bored as fuck doing that. I guess we got to talk about this. When you guys hear me say, oh God, I guess we got to talk about this, that's me being facetious. That's me going, fuck, we're going to dig into this shit because I'm going to have a blast doing it. There are very few things we talk about that I'm not actually having fun when we're talking about it. Because I'm too old for that shit, okay? I play the game as much as I play the game. Yeah, you gotta kind of like a story like Charlie blowing up right now. I'm interested in this for several reasons. One, his excuse is dog shit. But two, this part here really is interesting to me, and I've seen it happen with so many other people. But he's also on the thumbnail because putting Charlie in the thumbnail will get people to watch. So yeah, that's how you play the game. You don't play it like if this was, I don't know, Candace Owens. I don't give a fuck about her right now. And you'll notice I rarely talk about that bitch. But you can get a lot of views from talking about Candace Owens. And if there was ever anything that popped up about her that I did care about, you bet your sweet ass I would grift the shit out of that in the thumbnail. I'd be like, Candace Owens says something stupid. And I'd have fun with that part of the topic, and then we'd be done. Because honestly, I don't care about that little grifting racist shithead.
Now I know, whack, call the wambulance, get some French fries, just fucking whining about having to talk about drama. What a stupid problem to be upset about.
You know, I do want to point out that one of the things that I like about Charlie is he's like the SpongeBob generation of Dennis Miller. He has a shit ton of pop culture references that he sprinkles through his videos and stuff in a very Dennis Millerian way. But it's funny. Did Trump pull out of the debate? Biden quit. You might have missed that part.
But I'm just trying to explain that it hasn't been as fun recently. It hasn't. And the main thing, if you've been around the channel for a while, is I've always wanted this to be fun and never feel like a job. And as hard as it is for me to admit this, a lot of this kind of stuff, it has just started to feel like less fun and more of, well, got to do this because I'm expected to.
I don't know if you guys feel that way about me, but if you ever just expect me to talk about something, take that shit right out of your brain right now. You guys might expect I'm going to talk about something and be right on about it, but I don't understand creators who do this. I don't understand that. How can you? Can you guys imagine your job being entirely optional, but talking about shit you don't like? You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to sit you down and like, all right, look, you can get up and leave at any moment. You don't have to have this discussion. But I want to talk to you about your mother having sex and the noises she makes. How many of you guys are going to be like, yeah, I'll sit here and talk about that? You can literally talk about whatever you want to. And to his credit, he's not complaining or blaming anybody for this. It's what he does. But my point in this section is that I've seen this happen with so many creators, and it never leads to anything good. It almost always leads to their eventual leaving. Thank you, Frosted. I see quartering is sleazy, but I do like the Tism stream he does with Dankula and Bearing. One stream they did after the Dr. Disrespect incident, Jeremy was telling a story about some other guy, and Dank said, did you give him a firm handshake? Yeah, I can't watch that podcast because Jeremy's on it. I can't take that guy. He's annoying as shit. Plus, he's got some questionable behavior in his background and some immediate stuff.
Like, anytime I go live, most of chat is just telling me about the latest in whatever's happening in the creator space or some other like extremely negative thing going on. And it's like, okay, well, I'm going to have to learn all about that once I turn stream off. So then I spent a few hours learning about these things, and it's all just really upsetting stuff. Like, it's not happy. It's all very sad, bad stuff.
And I get that, I do. But here's another reality. There have been many times you guys go, hey, Monkey, have you seen this? And I haven't. I'm like, I'll look it up after the show. And we never talk about it again. You know why? Because I go and look it up and I'm like, either I'm not talking about that because it's horrible, you know, like children being harmed in any way, or I find that boring as shit. I don't care. And I get it because you chase that algorithm. But I don't understand. That's not what made you big. What made you big was just being yourself, and then you start changing it to try to please people. Boohoo Charlie's made millions of dollars and he's crying like a bitch. He's not. I don't think this is crying like a bitch. I do think this is him explaining, but this is a problem I always see. This is always what they say. Always what they say. I don't even want to talk about this stuff, and I feel like I have to. I know you know the word no. And I do wonder if there's some psychological issue there that causes these people to do this. I mean, they are chasing the money and the fame, and there's some psychology behind that in general anyway. But every one of them, you know, there'll be something that blows up, and instead of just going, you know what, I fucked up. I made a bad decision. Let's get back to what I was doing. It's always like, it's not fun for me anymore because I'm having to talk about these things that they just make me sad. It's depressing. Motherfucker, stop. And in fairness to Charlie, he says that's what he's going to do. But again, every time I've seen that, it is the downfall of that creator.
And it's been making me not happy. So I definitely think I'll be slowing down on covering internet-related drama or like drama in general. But I'll still talk about like...
Okay, and this is to his mental state. Him saying he's going to slow down on it. I know the Cody Co one got you some backlash, which I honest to God don't understand. The people are like, hey, it's no big deal. He banged that underage chick when he's in his mid-20s. You should tell them all to go fuck themselves. Anybody who's out there like Cody Co did nothing wrong is a fucking pedo defender and then go fuck themselves. But most of what you cover isn't the Sneeko thing. This, to me, as I'm watching, just looks like a reaction to the backlash. And I have seen this with Charlie lately where he gets backlash, and instead of letting it roll off or ignoring those fucking people, he has to address it. Sometimes go fuck yourself is the right answer. People, hey, she was 17. It was okay for him to bang a minor. Go fuck yourself. That's the only answer you really need there. Go fuck you. Hey, I'm here to talk about the Cody Co situation. Those of you who think that me saying banging a minor is wrong, all I need to say to you is go fuck yourself. I'll see you on the next video. I mean, it's actually kind of insane to me. Did I just lose audio? I can't tell. Can y'all still hear me? Somebody please say yes. Somebody say no. Somebody give me any indication you can hear me right now. Everything looks frozen. Unfortunately, we can still hear you. That's mean, Evolved. How is that the first thing that came in? All of you motherfuckers out there at your keyboards, the first one that came in is unfortunately we can still hear you. How long does it take you to type yes, motherfuckers? I love you guys. All right, here we go.
Really wacky stories and shit like that. But I definitely think I'm going to be pumping the brakes on like the kind of drama I have been covering recently. And instead, I'm going to go back to focusing on the content that I'm most happy with. Like, if you ask me what content I'm most proud of throughout my entire time on this platform for the last like 17, 18 years, none of it would be drama coverage. It'd be things like Skynut. It'd be things like shooting a potato at a tennis racket to see if you can make French fries in midair by frying them in hot oil. It's shit like that. And I think I'm going to go back to that kind of stuff as opposed to the direction that I have been going recently.
And that's a good idea. But the problem isn't the drama. The problem and what blew up here was your incredibly bad take. Your absolutely horrific take on cutting off the genitals of children. So anyway, yeah, I wanted to highlight that last part because I've seen that so many times, including Boogie. Boogie's probably done that a dozen times on his own, you know, like, I'm going to go back to focusing on my content. Sure. The problem isn't that you had an opinion. You're allowed to have opinions, and they can even be controversial opinions. Fuck, there's still people mad at me for saying that grown-ass adults shouldn't be walking around with backpacks on. But it's when you have an exceptionally bad take, one that even you seem to, without even saying it, agree that you were wrong for what you said. Just say that. I was wrong. I didn't think about it. The arguments against letting children do that, what I actually meant was once you're 18, you don't even put a fucking hard number on it. And then you fall back on, oh, it's because people are mad at me about all these other things. Why would anybody be mad about the backpack? Because there's a whole lot of grown-ass adults walking around looking like school children who took offense to my take on that. Anyhow, from there, we're going to go to other controversial stuff. This time, a little bit funnier. Donald Trump went to talk to the National Association of Black Journalists today. A hostile environment, and good on him, man. All of these people who were like, hey, he's afraid to debate Kamala. Kamala wouldn't even come here. Kamala would not even come here. I'm having a hard time sympathizing with Andrew WK, soy boy millionaire nephew. Thank you so much for that feminist $12. Cult of Krill, that's very kind of you. I don't feel sorry for Charlie there, because I think it's it's become the way that creators do this stuff when they fuck up. Screw you, Monk. I'll wear a backpack if I want. I didn't say you can't wear one. I said you shouldn't. You shouldn't punch yourself in the genitals. I'm not saying you can't, though. Anyhow, so Donald Trump goes, Donald Trump, I make myself laugh. That's good enough for me, okay? I don't have a car, so I have a backpack. Fuck your opinion, you lovable asshole. That's fair enough. I've even said there's times that a backpack makes sense. The problem is most of the people I see with them don't have any excuse other than they never grew up. So, Donald Trump goes to this National Association of Black Journalists. Kamala can't be bothered. She had to go to, what was it? Sigma Gamma Rho, I think it is. Their sorority celebrated their 60th anniversary. So instead of going and talking to Black journalists, she went and talked to a sorority because she's brat, y'all. She brat. I bet you crack yourself up all the time. I actually don't. I don't make myself laugh out loud very often. But when I do, it's because I'm fucking funny. Anyway, so I don't remember where I queued this up at. I think it's at the beginning of the question that leads to some of the funniest shit I've ever seen. Some
of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first Black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire.
She is. She's 100% a DEI hire. She was literally picked because she's got Black in her, because she's not Black, she's Black and Indian. She loves the Indian part. But because she has Black in her, and because she's a woman. That's it. What's up, Jack?
Hi, how you doing?
We'll talk offline. How you doing, man?
I fell asleep.
I figured.
I'm an out-of-shape fat man who moved a bunch of furniture today, so...
Is brat the newest euphemism for slut? Yes, if you actually listen to the song lyrics.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, you didn't hurt yourself or anything, did you?
A little bit, you know.
Oh.
No more than usual for a fat guy. I pulled like 5 muscles that I haven't pulled in years because, you know, I don't do physical labor. I'm just an out-of-shape fat dude. So it wasn't muscles so much as I pulled a fat, you know. Those like coils of fat where muscle used to be. And dude, I pulled some of those.
I pinched my fat roll the other day. That shit hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, so I pulled one of the main ones I pulled was like a pec muscle. So that hurt. because I was moving a filing cabinet from like my parents' room out to the curb, and that turned into a fiasco. And the dog tried to kill me, and because he doesn't understand, he doesn't like change. He's one of those. They're releasing my dad from rehab tomorrow.
Oh,
and
cool.
We just found out, so I had to make the room a little more wheelchair accessible by rearranging the bedroom. So we were getting rid of a few things, and guess who had to move the furniture? So I was doing that, and I just overheated myself because it was like 100 degrees, and general fat guy problems. Nothing major. Just fell asleep afterward, and when I got home, I've crashed out. So,
will you check your Streamlabs and see if a Streamlab came in for you around an hour ago?
Yes, thank you, Pornhub, who says someone upload this with the Charlie gets fucked.
Ah, okay. That was Pornhub donated to me too, but in the audience, somebody thought they donated me and said, "Oh, I must have donated to Jack." So there we go.
Well, thank you, Pornhub. Appreciate it.
Thank you, RJ. Hey, Monk. Sorry I haven't been in chat as of late due to my grandma April, who you sang to in June, passed away this past Saturday. I could use all the support from you in chat. Please send love. RJ, I'm sorry to hear about your grandma. That sucks.
Yeah, sorry, dude.
I'm so sorry to hear that. You know what, Jack? I was not going to talk about this on stream, but just trust me, I understand. Tomorrow is the day my mom died, and it'll officially be that she's been dead as long as she was alive.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry.
That's all right. You remember I told you I was feeling anxious and I couldn't put my finger on it?
Yeah.
It happens at this time of year, and it wasn't until right before the stream that those two things hit me, and I was like, oh. It just, you get in that. It's never even something where I'm thinking about it. Just around late July through mid-July until my brain finally says, acknowledge it, asshole. I don't realize it, but I'm still reacting to it. Yeah. So RJ, so sorry to hear about her passing. I hope she lived a long, happy life, though.
Yeah, I'm sorry, RJ. That sucks.
Remember, guys, we get sad when people pass because we were lucky enough to know them. Nobody says that about people they hated when they die,
Yeah, you don't really tend to miss those people. But relationships with your parents, even if you weren't real close, they're complicated, and you end up with complicated emotions.
Yeah. So
yeah, just give yourself time to work through it.
All right. And now we got to go back to DEI VP. Jack, this is at the National Association of Black Journalists. I don't know if you saw this on Twitter today.
Yes.
Oh
my God. Talk about going to a hostile audience.
Oh, yeah.
Good for Trump for doing this. A lot of people wouldn't have done this. I don't think I would have, honestly, because look at the journalists that you're going to deal with. They're going to be wokies that just hate you for the sake of hating you.
Yep. And okay, so he just asked, or he's in the middle of being asked about other Republicans who say that Kamala is a DEI hire, which, as I pointed out, she 100% was.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Is that acceptable language to you?
Yes.
And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
No.
Why is that his job?
Yeah. Why does that shit happen? You guys wouldn't have Kamala tell Joe he had to step down when he's clearly demented. But now Trump has to tell other people, hey, stop calling her a D. You know what we're seeing, don't you? We're seeing the Obamification of Kamala, because this was a thing with Obama. You were not allowed to question anything, because if you did, it's because he's black.
Yeah. Yeah. They're doing the exact same playbook. You're just saying that because she's a woman, or because she's black, or because she's Indian, or because she's Inuit, whatever tone of brown she fits this week.
At the beginning of this, they tell us that this is being live fact-checked by PolitiFact. Which
Sure.
by the way, I went over and read their PolitiFact thing, and it was really stupid. And this is an aside. I don't think we're even going to watch the part where it happens. But he's asked about being mean to black reporters, and he goes, "I'm not." Basically, I'm paraphrasing, but the PolitiFact fact check on this, right, tells us that he was mean to all reporters and the black ones.
So he's an equal opportunity discriminator?
In the PolitiFact fact check, they have in there that he called the press the enemy of the people, and they have a link, right?
Mhm.
Now, you would think that would be a link to him saying it. No. It is to a 1-paragraph article written by some dude who says Trump calling the press the enemy of the people, and I swear to you this is true, is like Hitler, Stalin, and Mao.
Oh, fuck off. These people are so stupid, so disingenuous. That is, wow.
Yeah.
What an insult to everybody that survived those people or was killed by them. Yeah, that's a disgrace. You should be embarrassed to say something that retarded.
On the plus side, I will give them credit for finally admitting Stalin and Mao were bad people. You know what I mean?
That.
But yeah. And again, he gets compared to Hitler, Stalin, and Mao because some of the reporters he's insulted happen to be black.
He insults everybody that especially ones that give him bad coverage or even moderately rude to him. That's his shtick. That's what New Yorkers do.
But since some of them were black, clearly he literally treats everyone the same. So clearly he's racist because of modern racism definitions. Anyway,
I'm sorry, but this whole thing with you're a racist. Why are people so hypersensitive? You are just a bunch of babies.
Because if they admit Trump treats everybody the same, they have to admit that they don't.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, 1 second. Thank you, Frosted Glass. Something similar happened to me a few years ago. My dad died when I was a teenager, and although I've been able to move on when I turned 33, I felt weird because now I've gone through longer without my dad than I have with him. This is the norm now. Yeah,
Yep.
I haven't lost my parents yet, thankfully, although it's been close a couple of times. But yeah, your life changes when you lose a parent, and that is something you will never forget. When you lose somebody you love in general, your life is different from that point on.
I was going to expound, but I want to get back to this and not get too off on that topic.
Fair enough.
I was 28 the year that happened.
Man, you're like 60 now? You're pretty old.
49, fucker.
Yeah, like I said, you're pretty old.
Anyway, so will you make them stop calling her a DEI hire? I've already started seeing it. There's a whole lot of women who are, how do I put this, who claim to be conservative, but they immediately fall back into leftist bullshit propaganda.
Yeah.
And they've already started chanting, stop calling her DEI hire. That's not going to help anything.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Officer Buck, thank you. Woot. My 2.20462 pounds of grade A Australian beef jerky just came in the mail.
Nice.
You guys have to order beef jerky? We can go to any convenience store on the block and get some.
But well, you know, we have messing with Sasquatch. Maybe they have Yowies messing with Aussies.
There's a
They're hiding it all from them.
There's a store out near Mount Pleasant that sells every kind of jerky you can think of. I think the only thing they don't have is human jerky. It's a very popular place, and everybody's like, you should go try gator jerky. And I'm like, I wouldn't eat gator regularly unless I had to.
Oh, it's actually not bad.
You know, chickens aren't endangered, right?
Not yet. Not yet. But the chicken apocalypse might happen. And you should be prepared, taste bud wise, to substitute them. I'd recommend rattlesnake. But yeah, alligators, not too bad. So
Eagle says, I've heard of that place, Monkey. Yeah, it's actually pretty well known here in Michigan. I used to drive by it all the time. My son used to go to college in Mount Pleasant. Anyway, here we go. So here comes Trump's answer.
Language to you, and will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Officer Buck. No, Monk, this is the good shit, not the store-bought trash. Did you buy it from like a poacher? Or did it not come from a store?
Well, like you got to get like the homemade. It's like buying Amish stuff, I imagine. You know, you want the good quality stuff. You don't want like a bunch of artificial preservatives and rat parts.
One, do not buy jerky that has artificial ingredients or preservatives, because the jerkification is what preserves it. But around here, and maybe this I should make more clear, a lot of the jerky that's in stores and stuff is locally made and grown.
Oh,
yeah. Anyhow,
language to you,
we're gonna get
and
to
will
his
you
answer.
tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
give me
literally
a definition
the words.
then.
That's not the definition, though.
Yeah, you just explained the initials. I mean, that's like saying, but FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation, is the definition. You didn't define their role. You just said what those letters meant. I love how reporters think they are so smart, and they're some of the dumbest people around.
I have memes. Thank you. The dumbest people in America are those who still cover their faces. You'd think they'd move on after 4 years, but they're as smart as the current VP. Yeah.
Well, gotta have that talisman to ward off evil and to virtue signal your faith.
I don't know that they're the dumbest. They're very proud about being dumb, though.
Can you give me a definition of that? Give me a definition.
Sir, I'm asking you a question, a very direct question.
Define it for me, if you
I just defined it, sir. Do you?
No, you didn't. You just repeated what it stands for. All right.
Believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a Black woman?
Yes. 100% yes.
Yeah. Well, she's allegedly a Black woman.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you're going with the idea that she's Black, she was. Fucking Biden laid this out. He wasn't even shy about it.
Yeah.
But everybody's pretending that never happened. All right.
Well, I can say, no, I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much. And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was Black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn Black. And now
I love how indelicate and indifferent he is to what he's saying. She just turned Black. It's like being in the 90s again. It makes me miss people that just say shit like this.
Oh, God. When I watched this, I had to pause it because I was laughing so fucking hard. Because it is absolutely true. Even when she runs for president, we go back to 2019, she doesn't play up the Black part of it. When they bring her into Biden's administration, when she's thrown on the ticket, it's mentioned a little bit, But then they lean heavily into the Indian part of it because they were getting so much blowback because he said he was only going to pick a black woman.
Yeah, she did several pieces for the media. The one with Mindy Kaling. Oh, are we getting into those later?
We're going to watch CNN's take on it.
Cool.
Yeah. There's not much more here that I want to talk about because most of this was, one, their technical setup is horrible. Yeah. Trump can't hear the people on the fucking stage.
Yeah, that's pathetic. Did you hear the cheap shot he got at them about, like, they said, well, we only have a limited time.
Yeah.
With you.
And he tells them, because he's only on here for like 35 minutes, I believe is what it was scheduled for. And he goes, that's on y'all. You guys set the time limit. And most of this, I was actually shocked. He gets a couple of boos here and there, especially early on. But later he gets a hearty laugh out of them. And mostly they're just sitting there listening.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising. They were playing up that he got booed. Like, that bit was all over the news. But people were actually listening.
Yeah. And I was asked how I think, this will affect Trump. I think it's basically a push. I don't think he won anybody over. I don't think he lost anybody here.
Yeah.
I do think he might have opened some people up to wait a minute. And this is why the Amber Rose thing was important.
Yeah.
I'm now seeing Republicans out there going, Donald Trump needs to stop chasing the black vote. And actually they're saying Republicans need to stop chasing the black vote. They'll never get it. One, that's a horribly defeatist attitude.
Yeah, well, that's what they're good at. Republicans don't want to win. They just want to complain.
Well, the one guy who said it was Jewish. So I asked him, should they stop chasing the Jewish vote? Because you can go back and if you look at the polling that we have, and this is from a Jewish source, the last time the Republicans won the Jewish vote for the presidential election was with Harding in 1920. And in that case, he still didn't get the majority. He only got I think it was 46. There was a Democrat, and then I'm using independent in quotes here, but another Democrat. There were two Democrats running, and together they got the majority vote.
Well, look, Warren was OG, so OG Harding.
So
I made a funny joke. He's from Ohio.
When Republicans go to AIPAC, is that them just chasing the mirage? That's the wording this guy used. Shouldn't go after the black vote. That's chasing a mirage.
Ah, fuck off. These people don't want to win. They don't. And some of them are, I think, closet racists.
Hang on, Faithless. No. Faithless says subtext, stop poaching our house slaves. No. These are conservatives saying this. These are conservatives saying, hey, you shouldn't go. If the policy is good for Americans, why wouldn't you be trying to convince black people that it's good for them too?
Yeah. If it's good for one group, it should be good for the others.
And Trump has been more successful than any recent politician in that regard. And now they're like, hey, he's doing well with this group. By polls, I'm told, are great for Kamala. 20% of black people, which is more than double what Trump got in 2020. 20% are leaning Trump right now.
Good. Let's get that up to 30 or 40.
And you're telling me it's a mirage. You can't do that. I guess. I don't understand the thinking that goes into that, Jack. I really, really don't. All right.
No, it's just defeatist.
Let's bring up this one because fuck me. So Trump says that Kamala has, she turned black. And of course, everybody came out and clutched their pearls and like, hey, she's always been black. This is a CNN story that was done on her a few years back, Jack.
My mother, who raised me and my sister, was a proud woman. She was a brown woman. She was a woman with a heavy accent.
And her mother, Shamla Gopalan, was also the biggest influence in Kamala Harris's life.
They even brought out an Indian woman to do the voiceover.
Yeah, like, can you pander any more? Because that woman clearly has a very heavy Indian accent. And I'd never seen this woman on CNN before. Like, you dusting off an intern somewhere to do their first big event? Come on.
I heard a poll came out today saying Trump dropped to 10% after this interview. I wouldn't trust any poll that's out right now. That literally just happened.
The answer is absolutely yes, Joe.
After the big announcement, Harris's sister wrote in a Twitter post, "You can't know who Kamala Harris is without knowing who our mother was."
Do you think Joe Biden ever said you can't go into Kamala Harris's house without an interpreter?
That would not surprise me if he actually said that.
For those of you wondering what that means, Joe once said that about stores in his neighborhood. But don't worry, that wasn't racist. How come Joe Biden literally questioning any black person who doesn't vote for him, questioning their blackness? That's not racist. But Trump saying Kamala, who's largely just played up her Indian heritage, suddenly turning black, that's racist. I'll get it, man.
You got me, dude.
Are you guys going to cover Kamala's rally where she did the stereotypical black voice? I'm not sure which one you're talking about. I saw a little. Go ahead.
That was the rally she did where Megan Thee Stallion put on a concert.
Oh, yesterday's one. No, I didn't see much of her speaking at that one. I saw lots of clips of Megan for some fucking reason.
Yeah, they were trying to. Oh, sorry.
I did see her today at the sorority thing she went to. And other than, hey, I want to kill babies, she didn't really say much of anything. For a black woman, she really wants to kill a lot of black kids.
Well, something to do, I guess. I don't know. It's fucking dumb. No, she had this concert event thing where Megan Thee Stallion played, and then she came out. And they tried to play it up like you weren't getting a free concert.
Yeah.
You were really there to see Kamala Harris. And Savannah Hernandez covered it because people were getting up and leaving as soon as Kamala came out on the stage.
Well,
and Savannah was filming that.
I got into an argument with morons on Twitter yesterday because the Krasensteins, being dumb like they are, said, remember when the Trump people said that Trump was better because he could get an audience? Well, look at this. I'm paraphrasing, but barely. And I said, okay, try that in middle America without a celebrity that people are there to see.
Yeah, exactly.
And this dude got really mad at me, and he's like, no. What Brian is saying is that a large audience doesn't matter. I'm like, that's not even close to what he said. I mean, they cannot get... There's a reason that the Democrats are playing up. Oh, look at all of these celebrities who, this is what I was telling you guys. They're trying to make it about how popular she is so that you want to be one of the popular kids too.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why they had to do that white dudes for Kamala creepiness. Yeah. It's pathetic. But at this rally, if you want to call it the free concert with the political nonsense at the end, it's sort of like going to, one of those cult temples where they serve free food. Yeah. You get the food, but you got to listen to some sort of like lecture or recruitment drive. So
if she started telling people that they had to buy a timeshare at the end of it, it would make sense.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think she could even sell timeshares, but she started doing like some sort of urban accent, like Hillary would do, almost Southern. And she went 2024. And I'm like, oh,
I've seen her do black voice before, and it's as bad as when AOC did. I actually said about the video we're watching now that I'd like to see CNN do this, but with Kamala's black heritage, and have AOC do her black voice for the voiceover.
Yeah. Oh, dude,
I would watch the fuck out of that.
Yeah, on a loop. That would be great. Thank you, Evolved Potato. Kamala has always been black, like how we've always been at war with Eurasia. The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command. 1984 is so quotable and relatable. Isn't that scary? Well,
it really is, but it's true.
Yeah. Yeah, they're absolutely doing that with her. You're 100% right. The media is puffing her up like you've always loved Kamala. Even though they can't highlight anything she's actually done that was any good to anyone other than, like, arsonists and murderers.
Sorry, I have a very bad pain.
No worries. I keep ranting. But yeah, she's unlikable, and they're trying to bury all these stories about her, all the gaffes, all the deceptions, her real stances on things. She even came out and said she was going to sign an executive order on guns, and you don't really hear that one going around now, but it's out there.
Not just did she say that, she got corrected by Joe Biden in the 2020 debates about that.
Yeah.
Joe fucking Biden had to tell her, hey, you can't do that because of the Constitution.
They don't care about the Constitution.
If I was the Republicans, I would have that playing everywhere.
Yeah.
Somebody said just a little bit ago, oh, it's Eagle. I don't know. I have a bad feeling she's going to win. And win is in quotes. If Kamala wins, it's going to be because of the horrific messaging of the right. This is a layup. This is a fucking... I could make this shot. I'm crippled, Jack.
Yeah.
I could make this shot. She is such a bad candidate. And she has had so many mistakes. And she has... What record she does have is atrocious. She was literally labeled the most leftist senator when she was in the Senate, left of Bernie Sanders. How do you lose that? Now, I do want to again caution people. This is the honeymoon period. They have a brand new candidate. They knew they were going to lose with Biden. So yes, they're re-energized. The press is doing their damnedest to put out all this stuff. And it's going to last through quite a bit of August, unless she makes some major mistake, because we got to get through the convention.
Yeah.
And then you have September and October, and that's where it really counts. And Republicans, if you drop the ball on this one, it's all on you.
Yeah. If they don't get the message out there about what they want to do and actually what their policy ideas are, they're going to fall flat on their face. And they have to put out videos about her. There was a good video somebody made on Twitter today, or X today, where it had her and Stephen Colbert talking about the George Floyd riots while things are burning in the background. Did you see that one?
I did not know.
Oh, that's great. But it's just a clip of people setting shit on fire and her talking about how they shouldn't quit doing it. They shut back down.
The people are in the streets and they should stay in the streets is the major quote from. I know what you're talking about. I didn't see that today, but I know the quote from the Colbert thing.
Yeah.
Frosted, thank you. I literally just realized Kamala bringing on big name rappers is just the political equivalent of saying you'll have free punch and pie. Then everyone leaves. By the way, Trump shouldn't just go after the black vote. Go after the Two-Spirit vote too. Go to Tupac. Thank you.
I dropped the link for both those videos in the chat. So if anybody want to watch her talking about executive action on guns or the Colbert video, they're in the chats.
Both parties should be going after all the voters.
Yeah. That'd be the smart thing to do.
Yeah. I mean, that was Hillary's mistake. Mm-hmm. Hillary probably wins in 2016 if she doesn't completely neglect the Midwest as though she just owned it. She only had to pick up a couple of states there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you should be going after all the votes. Anyhow, I don't know if there's any more to this that we actually have to watch. I just thought it was funny as shit that even CNN is like, look how Indian she is.
Diversity. Oh, real fast. Thank you, Cult of Krill, for that feminist donation. The reason I think Trump isn't going hard on Kamala right now is because he isn't sure she will survive the convention. I think you're right. I think he wants to make sure that they've got enough oppositional research done on her that when she gets the nomination, because the Democrats are notorious for pulling bait and switch. They'll tell you one thing and then immediately flip flop on it. That goes way back. Woodrow Wilson ran on keeping us out of World War I, and as soon as he got elected, he went and dragged us into it. So yeah, I don't blame him on that, and they're taking the time and using it well, hopefully, to look into her and find a bunch of good video clips to make commercials for. But I think you're right. They're a little concerned that she may not get the nomination, which I think it's going to be her. They've kind of just given up.
Again, they can't pick somebody else because it would be skipping over the black woman, and the DEI insists on it. But even if that were the case, you can go after her now, and then if it isn't her, when the third one comes up, you have all kinds of jokes and great things you can make about maybe third time's a charm.
Yeah.
I think they're being way too overly cautious here. I don't know who if I had to guess, I'd say there's a woman involved here. No offense, women. But like I said, I see these conservative women out there like, this is not the tack to take. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Stop being afraid of women. Anyhow, Jack.
Wait, do you think that she'll take Karine Jean-Pierre, and when poll numbers start coming out that they're not doing well, they'll just start making out on stage?
No, because nobody wants to see that.
No, but I mean, they're not smart, so.
I think what's going to happen is we're going to get into September, and all of the media stuff. There's only so much ass you can kiss, and we're going to see gas prices and stuff are still going up, and people are going to go back to remembering why they were supporting. Remember, a lot of people weren't supporting Trump because they thought Biden was out of it. They were being told on a constant basis that he's fine. They were all going, look at my fucking grocery bill.
Yeah.
Don't care about that. Don't care about that right now. No, don't care about that one either. This one's kind of interesting. The education secretary, Jack, is probably in gross violation of the Hatch Act.
Hold on, let me contain my shock.
He sent out letters to people who might be eligible for Biden's college debt forgiveness scheme. And in it, he attacked Republicans repeatedly. The Republicans are doing this. We're fighting against the Republicans on this. It was basically a campaign pitch and very politicized, which is a blatant Hatch Act violation.
No, the Hatch Act can only be violated by Republicans.
That's true. That is true. And only Republican presidents who aren't even, covered by it. What else yeah. The Olympics are going on, Jack. I'm so sorry. That pain took a lot out of me.
I understand. I pulled fat earlier.
I knew that there were transgender athletes in the Olympics. I was not aware until today that they're actually doing it in boxing.
Yeah, they're in a lot of the sports this time around. Good job getting women beat up.
A lot of the sports in this, it's unfair to let men compete, but it's not dangerous.
Yeah,
this is dangerous.
Yes.
They're going to get somebody killed.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you see the meme going around of the Olympics logo and then the red circles over some chick's eye?
No.
Oh my awesome, God, that's great. I'll send that to you. But yeah, I mean, you're going to get some poor girl killed, even athletic as she may be. Did some chick get really fucked up the past couple of days?
There was the story that I saw going around. I don't know when it happened to the girl, but there was a either high school or college volleyball player who the totally not a man transgender woman who was on the other team spiked the ball, hit the girl in the head, and fucked her up. She got knocked to the ground and has suffered partial paralysis from it. I don't know if y'all know this, but men can hit a volleyball really hard.
Yeah, it's sort of a biological strength we have.
Isn't this person technically not trans and actually intersex, XY female? I saw that's the thing, but there are other athletes that are participating who are absolutely trans. I did see the video. Did you see the jiu-jitsu thing where the little Muslim guy wouldn't shake the hand of the Israeli he beat? And then in his very next match, he got his arm dislocated.
That'll learn you.
That's what you get for being a dick.
Yeah, they should have taken his medal away for not being a good sport.
He hadn't won a medal yet.
Oh, well, yeah, fuck that guy then.
Yeah. He gets slammed to the ground by a little Chinese or Japanese dude, I think it was. And yeah, it's fucked up to watch the video because he gets picked up and he's getting, slammed down. Jiu-jitsu. I can't fucking say that word. Weird martial art style. And his arm goes down and you just see it bend in a way that arms aren't meant to bend.
Man, well, he fucked with God's chosen people, man. You don't do that.
Yes, he did. That's what you get. Don't fuck with the jujitsus. This I'm just showing because, right? You're in God's chosen fighting style now, and you're fucking with the Jew. What's wrong with you?
Right.
This is not a real post. It says Elizabeth Warren. This is that's a cheap fake, y'all. It says stop sending me this shit, but that's not the. I'm glad other people noticed that the Trump shooter looks like Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah, well, he looks like a leftist Karen, which I mean, come on, you look at that dude, you're thinking soy boy. You're not. He was a Republican. No, he wasn't. Look at him. Look at him. Well, that dude was not a Republican.
Did you watch any of the testimony from? I think it was yesterday at the Senate.
I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I heard the synopsis from a couple of. They were being super evasive, like the little clips I heard. Oh man, why aren't the actual Secret Service people testifying?
Well, in this case, they were. Well, if you're talking about the agents on the ground, because they're never going to let that happen.
No, because they're going to expose a fuck up.
But in some fairness, the one asshole that we're going to watch, he did admit to mistakes and said this is fucked up, including talking about the sniper himself and why the sniper that's on Trump's right there never took him out. And he even says this. He goes, I know that guy. He's covered me before, and I have no idea why he didn't take this shot. He goes, it's fucked up, and something has to be done. I'm paraphrasing, but barely. Because they went up there, and he actually brings the slides himself. Let me put this on the screen. So, hang on. Do we have a better picture of him? There we go. I'll put him on the screen. He went up to the roof where the sniper that was covering Trump on the right that we can see, and he gets in his position. And this guy right here, and they took pictures from it with somebody laying on the other roof, and he's like, you can clearly see, in order for them not to have seen him, he would have had to be basically prone. As soon as he got up in any position where you can take that shot, he's immediately visible. And this guy brings the evidence of it.
Nice.
But he wasn't, how do I want to say this? Always as forthcoming as he should be. And that leads us to the clash with Ted Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Rowe, thank you for being here. I agree with what you said at the outset, that the individual Secret Service agents demonstrated remarkable personal courage, putting their bodies in between the line of sight of the shooter and the president. That being said, the bravery of the line agents is quite different from the decisions of Secret Service leadership.
Yep. Teddy's just saying what we've said, Jack. Like I said, the people who surrounded Trump, even the short girl, not the one who stayed behind. I do not give her any credit. But even the little short girl who was protecting his armpit hair, she put herself in as much danger as she could to protect the president, and good on her for it.
Yeah, it's just a shame that they got somebody that needed a stepladder
Yeah.
to try and defend the president.
It's not her fault they put her on his detail.
No, and thank God that she wasn't on the detail the next time. No offense to her, but
yeah,
unless you're guarding Smurfs, honey, you ain't guarding shit.
I appreciate that woman put her body in the line. I mean, she didn't know where the bullets were coming from at that moment.
No, and that is their job.
Exactly. Dr. Functional just said it perfectly. She did her job. She just wasn't the right person for the job. Yes.
Exactly. Yes.
That chick has... dude, I don't know if I could run in and protect somebody else and be like, no, shoot me instead. And that bitch did it, and good on her. It's everybody else involved, the people who made the decision that that tiny little woman should be covering him, that I have a problem with.
Yeah. Real quickly. Thank you, Evolved Potato. Did you guys see how the IOC and the World Anti-Doping Agency covered up and is currently letting Chinese athletes doping since the Japan 2021 Olympics, and now the IOC is threatening the U.S. because they're investigating the doping and corruption? Yeah, that's been a scandal for better part of a decade. They've been letting the Chinese get away with this, the doping and putting in kids that are either too young or older, depending on the sport.
Oh, they love sneaking in little Asian kids in like the Little League World Series, and they're actually like 45-year-old men.
Yeah, they're clearly not the correct age. Gymnastics, they pulled that in like 2008. They did.
Yeah,
that was when I first started hearing about it, and nobody really does anything about it. Everybody treats the Chinese like, oh, well, we got to help them out, or they're bribing them. I'm not sure which. Probably both.
Look, man, the Olympics have been dirty for a long, long time. The East German swim teams were such a famous example. Like,
oh yeah,
that chick's got a wiener, and this is before that was allowed. Like, he's got a wife and kids. What are you talking about? That's a woman. Stop it. Anyhow, all right. So, back to this nonsense.
Secret Service leadership committed catastrophic security failures. Indeed, the worst security failures for the Secret Service.
This is entirely. I'll go back so we can get it all. But I'm curious. Do you think Ted shaves his chin like that, or he just can't grow hair there?
I think he shaves it to look like that.
I always wonder about that with people who just have a weird bald spot somewhere in there, and it's usually on the chin like that.
Yeah. I think he shaves it because he's proud of his lower lip.
I couldn't, when I was in my 20s and probably almost until I was 40, mine would grow with just these two little bald areas right under the corner of my lip. And so it looked like I styled it, but I didn't. It's just how it grew. I'm sorry. It's one of those things that I can't help myself but stop and talk about, because that's who I am, and don't judge me. Or you can judge me. I just don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
Secret Service leadership committed catastrophic security failures. Indeed, the worst security failures for the Secret Service since 1981, since the attempted assassination of President Ronald Reagan.
Wrong. This was a much bigger failure than that. This is the worst failure since Lincoln. This one, I get what he's going for there. And again, the guy did eventually resign and all that and realize, hey, maybe we should take a few more precautions. But again, that's a guy running up on the president.
Yeah.
This was a sniper that got into a position with everybody watching him. And this is a historic failure.
Yeah, there should have been a lot of people fired over this, and they haven't, which is pathetic. But this is how these agencies work. They're smug, they think they're above the law, and they can do whatever they want because they're administrators and not actually running for anything.
Yeah, I don't think we've had a Secret Service failure on this level. This is a new low for them.
Oh, until the next one.
It is incumbent upon this committee to determine why those security failures happened. Just after the shooting, Secret Service put out an official statement from your spokesperson that says there's an untrue assertion that a member of the former president's team requested additional security resources, and that those were rebuffed. This is absolutely false. In fact, we added protective resources and technology and capabilities as part of the increased campaign travel tempo. Was this tweet accurate?
With respect to Butler, Pennsylvania, it is accurate, sir.
It is accurate that the Trump team had not asked for additional security and had not been rebuffed.
If you're talking about Butler, Pennsylvania, all assets requested were approved. If you're talking about the media reporting of assets requested, there were times when assets were unavailable and not able to be filled, and those gaps were staffed with state and local law enforcement tactical assets.
So I'm reading from the Washington Post, July 20th, 2024. Secret Service said to have denied requests for more security at Trump events. The opening paragraph, top officials of the U.S. Secret Service repeatedly denied requests for additional resources and personnel sought by Donald Trump's security detail in the 2 years leading up to his attempted assassination, according to 4 people familiar with the requests. Is that right, that repeatedly the Trump detail asked for more resources and repeatedly Secret Service leadership turned that down?
That is not accurate, Senator.
You just said it was accurate.
Don't believe your lying ears, buddy. You just misunderstood. We didn't do nothing wrong. We're good boys.
You just said that there were times you didn't have the assets, so you had to get state and local boys involved in it. Now, we're not going to watch this part, but this does come up in here. Over the last, I think it's 10 years, Jack, the Secret Service budget has doubled. It's gone up 100%. And the number of agents has gone down by 10%. It's actually 9%, but basically 10%.
Well, that's the problem with an administrative state. You always grow the administrators, not the field people. It's a problem with almost all of our agencies right now. They have way too much paperwork to do. They create more to justify their jobs. Then they get more money. The military is having the exact same problem. They got all these administrators and almost nobody on the ground.
They doubled the budget, cut back the workforce by 9%, and he has the balls to sit up here and be like, well, sometimes we just don't have the resources. He got questioned about the budget thing, and his answer is something to the effect of, well, that was for technology.
Bullshit. Maybe some of it was for technology, but they hired a bunch of middlemen, bunch of we need team leaders.
Even if it was technology, do the drones that you're using have a way to kill the sniper? You got to still have people involved.
Yeah, but they're not thinking like that. They're not thinking of how to do their job. They're thinking of how to maintain the administrative state.
Assets are requested. There's a process that is made. And
how many requests did the Trump team or the Trump detail ask for?
I can get you that number in a queue.
You don't know. You don't know now.
So I can speak to the ones that reported in the Washington Post, and we can go through them if you like.
But you don't know how many requests there were.
In general, how many requests since 2021 that the former Trump detail has made a request for assets?
You've had 2 weeks. You had a spokesperson put something out that is false on its face. By the way, did you approve this statement when it went out?
I don't know if I did or didn't, Senator.
Has this spokesperson, is he still employed? Does he still have a
still
job?
Employed, Senator.
So he lied on behalf of the Secret Service. He still has a job. Did your predecessor, the former director, did she approve this statement?
Senator, our comms team, they send out statements, they do deconflict them, and they put them out.
Your comms team doesn't get the communications approved at the top. That's what you're going with.
No, it's a chain of command. See, the person that's tweeting is like some lowly piece of shit. They go through like 5 supervisors, and that's it. And the supervisor of those supervisors talks to another supervisor, who then relays things to this guy's secretary, who then relays to another committee, and then to him. It's some bullshit like that, I guarantee you.
Even the White House doesn't pull this shit. Even Karine Jean-Pierre is smart enough to go, I'm just saying what Biden said. Nobody in government's official spokespeople like this speak without getting approval from the top.
Yeah, that's normally how it works. But I mean, you got to remember, these people, they take no responsibility because they never get in trouble. Nobody ever gets fired. So he can play these little games and dodge and weave all he wants.
Christ, you guys give the SS too much credit to not be corrupt. I don't. If you're reading me giving them me not saying they're corrupt, you're hearing wrong.
Yeah, I think you're misunderstanding how much I hate the bureaucracy of all this, and I hate the fact that we have a lot of people that seem to don't give a shit about what they're supposed to be doing for their jobs. There's a lot of people that need to be fired and probably put in jail over not just this, but a lot of the other stuff going on.
That sniper that was up on the roof, who we watched him, Jack, he clearly sees the guy. His head pops up so he can look before he goes back down into his scope.
Yeah.
That guy, I hate to put this out into the world, but to me, it really seems like he was waiting to let that guy get his shot off before he shoots back.
Yeah. Yeah, it does look that way.
Yeah.
That's not the rules of engagement for Secret Service. But I think they let this happen, and they were hoping that Trump would get killed.
Yep. And instead, a random guy who did nothing wrong got killed.
Yeah. And 2 other people were put in critical condition.
One of which has been released from the hospital, thank God.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know we're what's the saying? Don't attribute to malice what can be attributed to incompetence, but there's a certain level where it's just like, no, that had to have been on purpose.
Yeah. The opposite is also true. Don't make people look incompetent when they are in fact malicious.
They knew about this guy an hour beforehand. Oh, by the way, Jack, the other day we were talking about this when we watched the Kim Cheadle, and I mentioned that there's no way that these guys didn't have radios to each other. According to this guy, they really didn't. Anybody believe that?
That just makes them look even more incompetent, like they're a clown show. If that were true, they should immediately suspend all protective details and switch over to the FBI or the Marshal Service.
Well, here's the thing. They had communication with each other, right? Like the Secret Service could, but they couldn't communicate with the sheriffs and the local and state guys that he was talking about just a minute ago.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't communicate with them.
Oh no! Why would they talk to their lessers? I'm from the federal government.
Yeah. I don't believe anything that these guys are saying. I do not believe that if you're setting this all, by the way, he also says that there were meetings and stuff that took place. remember her where she's like, I'm not sure. Where there were people in charge, and I'm expected to believe that they have these meetings specifically with the local and state boys. And none of them were like, but if something comes up, how are we going to get a hold of you? Do we like do hand signals? Because that's what they expect us to believe. Hey, how many of you guys have seen a police officer in the last, I don't know, 10 years? Let's go 20 years. How many of you guys have seen any police officers? Now, how many of them have you seen without a radio? Anyone? How many cops you see running around without a radio attached to their fucking body? It's not even on their belt anymore. It's clipped to their fucking shoulder. I know. We had no way of communicating with them. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, they're trying to blame the locals for this, and that is bullshit.
Yeah.
At least the local cops were trying to do their job.
Did she approve this statement?
I don't know if she did or did not.
And you don't know if you did either?
I don't recall approving it, Senator.
He's very testy.
Yeah, he doesn't like being questioned. How dare these Congress people ask me questions? That's beneath them. Do you know who I am? I'm an administrator, thank you.
Who's approving the public statements being put out by your administration? You shouldn't be mad about that. You should be asking that same goddamn question.
You'd think so. Real quick. Thank you, Evolve Potato. Correct me if I'm wrong, but even for a civilian, I'm pretty sure you don't have to let the other guy get a shot off before you're allowed to shoot him. No,
True.
You don't. There are a lot of people that would like to make it that way, but you don't. They just have to have reasonable thought to threaten you or someone else's immediate safety. Yes.
Imminent danger.
Yes.
Yep.
And, you have to be in fear for your life or the life of others, and that they should have taken the shot. I think maybe that Secret Service agent was just totally caught flat-footed. Like, where the fuck did this guy come from? But I don't even give them that much credit anymore. I don't want to give them any more chances to get weasel out of this. Several people should have been fired over this.
Will you commit to provide this committee in writing every written request for additional resources from the Trump campaign or the Trump detail and every response from Secret Service?
Senator, I will commit to providing responses and getting you the information that you are seeking.
May I ask you something? And who makes the decision to deny those requests? Did you make that decision?
Which requests? Are you talking about the ones that were in the
Any of
Washington
them.
Post?
Yes.
So the process, sir, is that a detail will make a request for either staffing, technical assets, that is handled between the field office and the detail. It goes up to a logistics office between our
Okay,
office
so
of
there's a bureaucration. Is there a decision maker?
It's not a bureaucracy,
Give
Senator.
me
It's
the
a
person
process.
That's literally the definition of a bureaucracy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a process. We got paperwork we got to do. Yeah, it's a bureaucracy, asshole. And again, they're going to pass the buck. Oh, well, anybody in that chain of command could have done that. Fuck off.
that's a decision maker. Is there one?
Senator, it's a conversation. It's not just an absolute yay or nay.
So let me tell you what.
What?
It's a conversation, monkey. We sit down and we have a nice meeting about it, and then we think on it. We have a good think, and then we have another meeting, and then we have a powwow, and we all sit around the campfire and talk about our feelings. No, somebody has to make a sign off on this.
Well, even besides that, John, thank you. Great stream, boys. Great stream, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Even if it's exactly as he says it, right? At some point, somebody, even if it's the committee, decides yes or no. Otherwise, you would just give it all or deny it all. Those are your only choices. It's not a yes or no. What the fuck do you mean it's not a yes or a no? Then how are any of the assets deployed if you guys haven't decided if they're going to be deployed or not? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's not a yes or no. Well, then what the fuck happens? Like, through osmosis, guys just show up and be like, I just felt I needed to be here today.
Well, you know, sometimes you need to take a personal day so you could go to the yoga studio. And it reminds me of those Twitter videos before Elon bought it, where people are like having a cappuccino.
Oh, yeah.
Like going on the roof to have some alone time. That sounds like that's what the Secret Service is doing now.
Whether it's done by a single person or a committee, there's absolutely a yes or no given. We know this because the Secret Service shows up. God damn.
What I believe that the Secret Service leadership made a political decision to deny these requests. And I think the Biden administration has been suffused with partisan politics.
I don't believe that. I know it for a fact, and we can see it over and over and over again.
Yep.
I appreciate you being political here with this is what I believe, but I mean, give me another good reason for the way shit's happened. Give me a good reason the Justice Department is going after Trump and not Biden for literally, it's not even the exact same thing, for Biden for doing worse than what they accused Trump of.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem with a lot of these people is they're appointed into these positions and then nobody replaces them. And they get to stay there for 20, 30 years being incompetent half-wit hacks.
Did the same person who denied the request for additional security to President Trump also repeatedly deny the request for security to Robert F. Kennedy Jr., whose father was murdered by an assassin and whose uncle was murdered by an assassin?
They did change that after Trump got shot. They're like, ooh, maybe we should get RFK some Secret Service. Biden didn't want to be the one known for getting RFK Jr. killed. But it's absolutely insane. Look, I get it. You can't give Secret Service protection to everybody who runs for president. Believe it or not, guys, there's a lot of people who run for president every 4 years. But when you have a candidate who's at least in the 10% range or getting close to it in some polls, and their father was literally murdered when he would have been the Democratic candidate in 68, maybe just for the look, right? You can't spare 4 or 5 people to go be like, hey, we drew the short straw.
I mean, you would think so, but
it's totally not because they were hoping he'd get assassinated so that he couldn't be a threat to Biden.
Yeah.
Notice that they've stopped talking about RFK Jr. completely now that Biden's gone.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, now he's a threat to Kamala and her coronation.
To be fair, the Kennedys are pretty much just cursed, except Ted. He was an alcoholic. They're all alcoholics.
Yeah, well, he sacrificed that lady Chappaquiddick to Moloch. So
Mary Jo, yeah.
Did the same person make that decision?
Senator, what I will tell you is that Secret Service agents are not political.
Okay, you're not answering my question. But you know what? Leadership appointed by the president, leadership appointed by the president is political. I have a simple question, yes or no. Did the same person deny the Trump request that also denied the RFK request? That's a yes or no question.
Senator, that is not a yes or no question.
It really is. If it's done by committee, then the answer is no.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to say it was the same committee, in which case, yes, because it would be people instead of just the same person. But this is no, that's not a yes or no question. There's no other answer there. It's not like it's got a maybe. I guess it could be maybe if you didn't know. But in reality, there's only yes or no.
One, there is a process for a candidate nominee to receive protection.
Does the buck stop anywhere? Does the buck stop anywhere?
Bipartisan process that the Hill
it's a bicameral, bipartisan process. What camera?
For a candidate,
you are not a Congress. You don't have a camera.
Mr. Kennedy submitted a request that was referred over to the CPAC.
Okay, you're refusing to answer the question. Let me ask, because the failures on that day were catastrophic. By the way, is it true that on the day of the Butler event that Secret Service transferred agent from President Trump to the First Lady?
No, sir, that's not true.
That's been widely reported.
It's not true. There was one airport agent that actually went on the manpower request for the Trump detail. They handled the arrival at the airport.
What was the
and
relative size of the Trump detail compared to the detail that is assigned to the President or the First Lady?
Senator, the former president travels with a full shift, just like the president.
What's so the exact same size? Is that your testimony that President Trump had the same size detail that President Biden has?
On the day of in Butler, the agents surrounding him, it is the same number of agents surrounding the president today. There is a difference between a sitting president who also not only
Hold on, you're using president in a way that is not clear. Is it your testimony that in Butler, Pennsylvania, Donald Trump had the same number of agents protecting him that Joe Biden has at a comparable event?
I'm telling you the shift, the close protection shift surrounding.
He's talking about the 8 agents who will make a shell around you if somebody does shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Where Ted is clearly asking, how many agents do they have compared to each other? Total.
Yeah.
That is a no. Wait for it, Foreign. He's not done.
That's
yes
what you
or no?
asked me, Senator, and I'm trying to answer it.
That is not what he asked you. Are you saying that those were the only agents there?
That might be.
Who are not answering it. Is it the same number of agents or not?
Senator, there is a difference between the sitting president of the United States.
Then what's the difference?
The difference?
2x, 3x, 5x,
National
10x?
Command Authority to launch a nuclear strike, sir.
I'm not.
Oh, fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck, what a stupid ass thing to say. This guy should be fired for being an idiot.
He's clearly asking. And look, we talked about this the other day. There is a good reason for Biden to have more security than Trump does. And there's a reason to have more security at an outdoor event than an indoor event. There are answers to these questions that can be real. What he's asking, what is the difference in size of the complement of Secret Service agents they get? That is his question. And this guy comes back with, he's got the nuclear codes.
That is what, just say, look, it's different because, the president is a more valuable asset than the former. At least make your case. And he's not, he's got the nuclear football star.
It simply answer the question. Because of his importance, he's got 2 times the detail or 1.5, whatever it is. That is a fair thing, that somebody running for president does not have the same importance as somebody who is president. Some people might not like that, but that's just true. You're talking about the actual sitting president versus somebody who might be, or in this case, might be and was.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Other assets.
How many more
travel
agents?
with the president that the former president will
you are
not get.
refusing to
But
answer
the number
straight.
of Secret Service
Sir,
agents protecting him.
Stop interrupting me.
Go ahead,
You
Senator.
are refusing to answer clear and direct questions. I am asking the relative difference in the number of agents between those assigned to Donald Trump and those assigned to Joe Biden. I'm not asking why you assign more to Joe Biden. I'm asking, is the difference, is it 2x? Is it 3x? Is it 5x? Is it 10x?
Senator, I will get you that number so you can see it with your own eyes.
Senator Marshall, you're recognized.
You would think I feel like that should be something the acting director and former deputy director knew.
Yeah, and should have had that information available. You're going to be asked that question.
You don't know how many agents are protecting the president right now?
I'm telling you that these administrators, they're terrible at their jobs and they don't give a shit.
And they get mad when they're questioned on it.
Yeah, because this is all beneath them. They think they are more important than the oversight committees because they know the oversight committee can't fire them. Or won't, either way.
Won't, yeah.
Yeah, there's no accountability here.
And look, this guy was not the top of the Hydra at the time. He's just one of the lower heads who's now the acting director. But he's still in that line. He still should have this information. This is not something that's. He didn't even ask for the total number of agents. He just asked for the relative difference in it, like 1.5%, 10%, 100% more. That's not going to get in the way of operational safety. Yeah, there's 16 on each of them. That would be maybe going a little too far, because then, all right, now our enemies know which 16 they got to keep an eye on, something like that.
Yeah.
Just how much bigger is the compliment?
It should not be this complicated. And the guy's just making himself look like an asshole by not answering.
Yeah. And he could have even said that from the outset. I'll get that number for you, as him basically saying, I don't know. And he could have said that. I don't know. Again, that makes him look entirely incompetent, and he clearly is. Plus, his haircut sucks.
Well, he's got that like pseudo military haircut where he wants to look cool. But no, not only makes them look incompetent, it doesn't do anything to quell the conspiracy theories, because it doesn't just look incompetent; it looks maliciously incompetent.
Steelman, he does not want to be, or he does not want to say, so a tactical advantage is not lost with info given to would-be threats. Again, you don't have to give the number of them. He said, like, if Jack has 10 people protecting him and I have 15 protecting me, I don't have to tell you either of those numbers to say I have 1.5 times more protectors. It's not that hard. It's not that difficult, and it doesn't give away anything. Just knowing that, you can't know how many there are, which is what he was being asked. Anyway, yeah, that guy, he was a douche. And with that, we are going to wrap up. We're at the 2-hour mark, and that really did take a lot out of me. So, guys, thanks for coming and hanging out. Thank you so much for the donations. You guys are awesome, amazing. I'm going to try to get back to game streaming, I think tomorrow, Jack.
Oh,
actually, I might wait till Monday, because I do have things planned this weekend. So for anybody who's been waiting for those, we will get back to it, I promise. I've just had a lot of Jack. So this morning, Lady Monkey asked me, hey, could you reset the router on the AT&T? It's not working up here. I'm like, sure, no problem. So I go out there and reset it, and I wait for it to come on. And I wait for it to come on. And I wait for it to come on. And it doesn't come on. I'm like, fuck. So I go to Lady Monkey's personal computer, and because she has her work computer and she has her personal one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically the gateway to internet in our house through the AT&T. It has to be running in order for it to work.
Oh.
And I go to start it, and it won't turn on.
What?
It turns on, but it won't load. And I'm like, fuck.
That's not good.
45 minutes later, I get her computer working.
Wow.
And the internet still won't work. And so finally, I'm like, wait a second. Let me check. And so I go to my phone and I type in AT&T Uverse outages. And sure enough, there was one in my area.
I'm shocked.
And I'm like, wait a minute. It just coincidentally happens the same day that computer dies.
Maybe her computer dying caused it.
It took them like almost 8 hours to get it working. Fucking assholes. Anyway, that was my day. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We go through a lot of shit to make these things work. But yeah, lots of internet issues around here these days, and it's pissing me off.
Yeah, what it rains, it pours, dude. I'd like to point out the Eagles said that guy had the Patriot front haircut.
I call it the Ricada.
Monkey, check your DM.
Oh, yeah, I did see that, Frosted. I'm so sorry. I meant to answer. No, I can't. I have things going on this weekend. Conspiracy theory, Lady Monkey runs the network for AT&T. Jack, anything you want to chill out?
I drop some links to some cool videos as always. Thank you guys for all the support you give us, whether it's showing up and watching the show or donating. We do appreciate it. This is our jobs, so all the support you give us is greatly appreciated. And you guys are awesome.
USP says that's them putting in your high speed lines. I was hoping that they were doing something, and I did check the speeds, and they're slightly up, but for major changes, they would have to probably rerun.
Your luck, somebody hit a telephone pole and it just dislodged it.
Yeah, I have no idea what happened. But anyway, guys, thanks for joining us, Jack. A pleasure as always.
Oh, always glad to be here.
Speaking of Patriot Front, oh, excuse me, I'm so sorry. You see the release, the FBI, the redacted docs. I saw a headline about them, but I didn't read it all. Essentially, it's, from what I saw of the headline, verifying Patriot Front works for the FBI, but I didn't dig into it, so I can't speak on it.
I mean, who's shocked by that information?
I'm not shocked by that at all.
Anybody tricked by them? Sorry, you probably need to not buy anything on the internet or talk to any princes in your email.
Yeah, if you're surprised by that, you're like Kelly Bundy and the tricks rabbit got you every time. Guys, thanks for joining us, Jack. Pleasure as always, my friend.
Always glad to be here, dude.
Take care, everybody. We love you. We'll see y'all next time.
Bye, everybody.
I am singing a song. It won't go on for very long, 'cause it's a stupid song that didn't go on very long, about a song that's not long.
You didn't mention your dog.
Song.